Once you have the stamp visible layer, we can copy the horizon onto a new layer, add a layer mask, and straighten it. So, with the marquee, rectangular marquee tool selected, shortcut M, make a selection, and this is really important, that is much bigger than what you need. So if you make a selection of just this part, when you edit, transform it, and rotate it, it'll be too small. So you want the marquee to be much larger than what you need, and we're going to mask out what you don't need. Make sure that you are on the stamp visible layer, and then go to Layer, New Layer via Copy, Command J. And above will be just the horizon in a new layer. Okay. Now, we need to straighten this. I'm pressing Command R on my keyboard to show my rulers. Then I'm going to go up into my ruler and bring down a guide. And you can see when you bring down that guide how crooked that horizon is. And that will help us when we go to transform. So with the horizon layer selected, edit. Thank you, Camtasia. Edit, transform, and let's rotate. Go to the corners and you'll see the cursor changes to a double-headed round arrow. And then let's straighten up that horizon. Cool. So that is better already. Edit, transform, scale will allow us to make it a little larger because you can see it's a little too small here, a little too small here. The key is when you resize something, hold down the shift. When you hold down the shift, it maintains proportion. If you don't hold down the shift, it can be small and weird and kind of funky, right? So let me do that again. Edit, transform, rotate. When you rotate, you do not need to hold down the shift unless you want to rotate in increments. Edit, transform, scale. Hold down the shift. Once you get comfortable, you may want to rotate and scale at the same time. And that tool is Command T for free transform. Once you've got your bounding box and you've got your selection, bounding box rotated, scaled, you have to apply the transformation by checking the check here or just simply pressing return. Cool. Now, that is a much better horizon, but we have extra. And if you reach for the eraser, I am going to go crazy, so don't do it. Go down to the bottom of the layer panel and grab this little icon that looks like a front-loading washer or the flag of Japan. Add layer mask. Okay. You click this and it adds a layer mask to the horizon. What we're going to do is hide the parts we don't want. Select the brush, make it a little bigger, using the brackets, black and white foreground, background, and then you'll see the black appears. The black is hiding. The white is revealing. Also, make sure that you are on this thumbnail and not this thumbnail. If you are on the pixel thumbnail, you will actually just paint. That's not what you want. And that'll happen to everybody, but that's okay. Because then you can undo it in history. Come over here to the horizon. Right. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I got a little sloppy here. I'm going to make the brush smaller. Hit X to toggle and put the white in the foreground. And just clean that up. So you want to make sure that your edges are nice and clean. All right, so we have this piece, and you can see if I disable the layer mask, that's what we had. And then with the layer mask, we use the brush to hide and reveal parts. Now, the water overlaps a little bit, so let's see if we can't blend that back in with black in the foreground. In this case, there's not too much of a problem because it's sky and water, but you can see I'm just cleaning up the layer mask. So I just have the horizon. If there are any extreme lines where you're like, gosh, man, I can really see this. This is pretty extreme. Let me back up a step. What you can do is change the opacity of the layer and blend it in with, say, a 50% opacity brush, and that will make a nicer transition. In this case, because it's sand and sky, sea and sky, it's not too much of a problem. But you could always use a different opacity brush. Just make sure when you're done to send that opacity back up to 100, or it'll make you crazy next time you try and use the tool. Zoom back out, view, show, let's hide the guides. That looks perfect, right? It's pretty cool. So you're going to add layer mask. It's at the bottom of layer panel. Use brush tool, shortcut B. Make sure foreground and background colors are black and white. Shortcut for that is D. Use X to toggle foreground to background. Sound good? So add a layer mask, this guy over here, bottom of the layer panel. Make sure that you have the brush tool, and make sure that you are on this thumbnail, not this one. This is the pixel thumbnail. This is the layer mask, which will let us hide and reveal without erasing. All right.